Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, double honor to the apostles, the elders, and salutations to you sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity. This lesson is going to be entitled Deuteronomy 28 and 68. My source is CNN.com, and this article is entitled McGraw-Hill to Rewrite Textbook After Mom's Complaint. This was dated for October 5th, 2015. Of course, this is an old topic, but through the Spirit, Lord willing, edification will come out within this lesson. Alright, let's just get to the point. Textbook publisher McGraw-Hill will rewrite a section in one of his books after a Houston area mother complained that it whitewashes the role of slavery in bringing Africans to America. Okay, now these so-called Africans were actually Israelites who fled into the interiors of Africa, after the persecution from Rome in 70 AD. Okay, now it states Ronnie Dean Burren took to Facebook last week to vent her frustration over the wording of a passage in her son's world geography textbook that calls African slaves workers and immigrants. The Atlantic slave trade brought millions of workers. Notice the nuanced language there. Workers implies wages. Yes, Dean Burren's post gathered a lot of attention. A subsequent video sparked spirited feedback and had drawn 1.4 million page views on Facebook as of Sunday. McGraw-Hill heard the outcry, reviewed the section, and concluded that the wording doesn't live up to the publisher standards. We believe we can do better. And this man is the devil. McGraw-Hill posted on its Facebook page Friday, to communicate these facts more clearly, we will update this caption to describe the arrival of African slaves in the United States, which is supposed to be Israelite slaves in the United States, as a forced migration, and emphasize that their work was done as slave labor. A little more, the edits will appear in the online version of the book immediately and will be included in the book's next printing. This has changed, people. This is why your voice matters. Dean Burren posted on Facebook. Now, when you look into slave ship, and my source is wikipedia.com, it states slave ships were large cargo ships, specially converted for the purpose of transporting slaves. Atlantic slave trade. Only a few decades after the arrival of Europeans to America, demand for unpaid labor to work plantations made slave trading a profitable business. And this is how America became great, man, because they used our people, Israelites, to build up this fucking kingdom, man. The peak time of slave ships to the Atlantic Passage was between the 18th and early 19th centuries, when large plantations developed in the colonies of America. In order to achieve profit, the owners of the ships divided their hulls into holes with little headroom so they could transport as many slaves as possible. Unhygienic conditions, dehydration, dysentery, and scurry led to a high mortality rate, on average 15%, and up to a third of captives. Often the ships, also known as Guineamen, transported hundreds of slaves who were chained tightly to plank beds. And this is where, that concept of these 2/3 be doing that crazy ass planking. All right, it came from the concept of transporting slaves. For example, the slave ship Henrietta Marie carried about 200 slaves on the long Middle Passage. They were confined to cargo holds, with each slave chained with little room. According to McGraw-Hill, they stated that these African, which are Israelite slaves, were workers and immigrants. But according to the history provided from Wikipedia, it states that, hey, we were forced into this new way of life for us. And it all goes back to we broke the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And it states they were confined to cargo holds, with each slave chained with little room to move. The most significant routes of the slave ships led from the northwestern and western coasts of Africa to South America and the southeast coast of what is today the United States and the Caribbean. As many as 20 million Israelites, I'm not saying Africans anymore, were transported by ship. The transportation of slaves from Africa to America was known as the Middle Passage. Conditions on slave ships. Enslaved people. Owners of slave ships did their best to hold as many enslaved people as possible. Now these owners were actually Jewish people, okay, and their biblical name Amalekites. Enslaved people as possible. Cramming, chaining, and selective grouping techniques were used to maximize space and make travel more profitable. Meaning they tried to pack many Israelites as they can, man. Those that were on the ships were underfed and treated with brutality, which caused some to die before even arriving at their destination. These people also were not treated as human, living like animals throughout their long voyage to the New World. The enslaved were naked and shackled together with several different types of chains stored on the floor beneath bunks with little to no room to move due to the cramped conditions. They spent a large portion of time pinned to floorboards, which would wear skin on their elbows down to the bone. First-hand accounts from former slaves such as, in Salakia for the pronunciation, Olada Iguano, describe the horrific conditions that enslaved people were forced to endure. Hey, Jay gotta wake the fuck up, man. You know, now if you see how McGraw-Hill has attempted to rewrite slavery from their perspective, okay? Now, think about all the other things you have learned being indoctrinated in this white man system. Well, so-called white man in this red man system, all right? And the main reason, or if not the top reason, why Esau is trying to eradicate slavery from history is because we bring out through the spirit, beginning with the Apostle Tahar, Deuteronomy 28 and 68, to solidify who we are. Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. All right, thou shalt see it no more again. And what is that referring to? Our land, our homeland. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. Okay? And hey, wherever we were docked at from, throughout the world, we were enslaved, man. These places are prison camps. Okay? And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And that means as slaves. And no man shall buy you, meaning no man is going to be able to physically deliver you from this spiritual and actually physical bondage. All right. However, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai sent his son Yahushai to redeem us. And Lord willing, if we are part of the elect, that's what we're waiting on. Only Yahweh and Yahushai can deliver us from this captivity, man. At this time frame, we are still enslaved in this red man society known as Esau. Okay, Habakkuk 2 and 4. Behold, his soul, Esau, or the Edomites' soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. Meaning that they don't have a righteous spirit, because upright in Hebrew is Yashar. So these people do not have a righteous spirit within them, man. Okay, and how do you measure righteousness? All right, it's based on the law, statutes, and commandments. However, at this time, we live by faith, but faith is going to promote you to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments to the best of your ability. So if this man's spirit is not upright, therefore he doesn't give a fuck about lying or just manipulating a situation to keep you dumbfounded. Okay, but The just, which are the Israelites, beginning with the elect, shall live by his faith. Okay. Hope you're edified. Shalom.